to the world above. Epilogue. The events at the beach spread like wildfire through the next few months. Everyone at the marketplace talks about the gigantic beanstalk and the tremors they left when it fell. I remain silent. I haven't told my mom about what happened. She suspects I was involved but hasn't questioned me about it. She's just happy the egg is gone and I hadn't landed myself in the dungeons. I think she is also afraid to ask, knowing that I had used magic. As I walk home, having sold my chicken eggs, I examine Valerie's ribbon I tied to my wrist. This is the one thing that reminds me I had been a part of the story. Yes, I still had Xander's sword, but I stashed it away so it was out of mind. If we ever run into trouble, I will sell it for a small fortune. I didn't spend much time with Valerie, but looking at the green ribbon makes me miss her. I wonder if she is doing well and if Chana is up and running again. It would be nice to visit the kingdom when it isn't overrun with giants. Above all, I hope she is happy and spending quality time with her siblings. I still don't know what Lord Ledger meant when he said Xander wasn't fit to rule, but I think he'll do great. After all, he gifted me his sword and forgave me for my enormous mistake. A sensible noble would see my head chopped off. Maybe that's why Lord Ledger thought he'd fail. Strolling down the dirt road, I stop in my tracks when I notice a carriage parked outside my house. The carriage is heavily embellished with purple-stained wood and Derwin's crest on the doors. The sea-green horse crest is mighty and frightens me. What did the royal family want? I take a breath before stepping into my home. I'm shocked when I see Jackson. He is dressed in finer clothes than when I first met him. If I didn't know better, I would mistake him for a noble. Sitting next to him at our wobbly table is a young woman. She dresses modestly, but I can tell from her formal posture that she must be the one who has ties to Derwin's royal family. "Jack, you're home," my mother says as she busily prepares what food we have for our guests. It isn't much, namely, a cup of water and a slice of bread. So I didn't get the wrong house," Jackson merrily says as he stands to his feet. My eyes go from him to the woman and then to a bag of gold resting on the table. The woman also clutches a letter in her lap. I am confused but relieved that it doesn't seem to be anything bad. There are no guards to take me prisoner. "What are you doing here?" I ask. Jackson scoops up the bag of coins and plops them into my palm. "I'm repaying you for Snowflake. She's officially a magical cow that can fly, and her milk is the richest in the land. However, it seems to me that you found my payment of beans to be worth it. That beanstalk was quite a sight while it lasted." I gulp, my eyes glancing at my mom. She crosses her arms and arches an eyebrow. Hesitantly, I offer the bag of gold to her, which she takes. When she looks at the amount it contains, her eyes bulge. I hope it's enough to convince her magic isn't so bad. The woman then stands and holds the letter out to me. Her eyes are a beautiful sea green, reminding me of Derwin's colors. It's then that it hits me. She's Princess Topsy. Jackson had mentioned a Topsy before, but I had thought it was some other girl. "This is an invitation to Hannah's royal ball. You're invited to attend, and for your efforts to save the princess, my brother, King of Derwin, will escort you there himself." Gold coins scatter across the floor. We glance over and see my mom staring at us as if we had halos above our heads. Topsy grins, and I catch a mischievous aurora coming off of her. Now I understand how Jackson had gotten a beautiful princess. She likes trouble, and dating a wizard is a great way to stir it. Jackson takes out a literal twig and waves it in the air. The gold coins fly up and gather back into the bag. I don't know how many surprises my mom can take, but Jackson found the tipping point. My mom sways. I race to her and steady her before she collapses to the floor. Thankfully, she only blacks out for a second. Her hand firmly grasps my arm. "Jack, what in Effa have you been doing?" Well, I traded with a wizard and stole from Lord Ellery, but I met a witch, climbed a beanstalk, stole from giants and trolls, killed a troll, and somehow saved a princess too." "Anything else?" she breathes, her grip tighter. The princess is a fairy who uses magic and her brother gave me his sword. I also was asked to be their envoy, but I refused because you, You refused! She shouts, suddenly strong enough to stand on her own. You refused an offer from royalty. I was doing the right thing. I don't deserve it, and they can find someone better. Plus, you hate magic. Look, I don't know what fairies are, but they ain't witches, and this wizard seems decent enough. My mom marches to the princess, and gently takes the letter from her. She extends it to me. I can't believe she is accepting this wild story and practically begging me to go. I take the letter and stare at the wax seal picturing a swan. There is even a sweet scent of roses. The real reason I ran away is because I'm afraid I'm reading the situation wrong. Regardless, I need to return Valerie's ribbon. I feel out of place the entire day as I accompany King Daniel and Queen Bree to Chana. Xander has since been crowned king earlier in the day. The ball is the after party. They have invited several nobles from different regions, including Baldwin. It's a historic event where all three nations are in the same room, and I'm a witness. Thankfully, I am not undressed as I was provided a tunic King Daniel once wore when he was my age. It isn't enough because I still feel like an imposter. Compared to those from Amishi with their proper tongues, it's abundantly clear I am a farm boy. I avoid speaking to anyone and watch as Daniel and Bree socialize, discussing politics as well as the well-being of their small children. The couple is popular amongst the crowd, being the first royal match between humans and mermaids. Valerie and her family are also surrounded by a swarm. There's no way I could squeeze my way through. And song after song, I don't know any of the dances. I'm tempted to hand the ribbon to a maid or a guard and tell them to deliver it to Valerie later. As I think over my decision, I lean against the wall, hiding away from the crowd. I wouldn't give up so easily, a voice says to next me. I'm startled to find the voice belongs to Peter Pan. He comes closer and plants his back against the wall too. He looks out into the crowd where Zalilia is as she converses comfortably with strangers. I felt out of place in the beginning too. In fact, I was meant to be a stable boy, but I think you'll find a man is only as good as the company he keeps. If you want to be great, find a girl who'll expect that of you. It was because Zalilia believed I was a hero that I became one. Though sometimes I doubt my worth as her husband. Husband? I ask. How old are you exactly? Peter smiles. Elf age is complicated. We age normally until we're 14 and then it slows rapidly. So in human years I'm 24. In elf years 15. How long do elves generally live? 500 years at best, but elves' immune systems aren't the greatest, and elf women typically give birth to one child successfully. There's a belief that an elf can live 1,000 years, but now the number continues to drop. Not to mention the meaningless slaughter caused by Hook. His eyes stare into a void at his feet. There's not many of us left, especially pure breeds. I myself am the offspring of a fairy and an elf. The tension I once felt when he first approached me vanishes. Just in this small moment, my image of him is shattered. He is not the confident, star chaser I imagined. He isn't going to whisk anyone off to a glorious, youthful land. Instead, he is a survivor and a protector of what remains. I still didn't know his full story, but by what he told, I can only guess it's much more painful than mine. They say never met your heroes, yet his real story is exactly what I needed. Peter sighs, realizing he has killed the happiness in the air. Sorry, I just meant to encourage you. She right there and you're here too. I nod as my hand slips into my pocket where I put Valerie's ribbon. Before I leave, I thank Peter, and then I push my way through the crowd. I don't fight any further when my eyes met Valerie's. She tilts her head and glances at a pair of doors leading to a balcony outside. Quickly, we both make our way there, but she reaches it before me. By the time I get there, she's already resting against the stone railing. She turns around when I close the doors. Valerie isn't dressed in white lacy ruffles as she was when I first met her, but in a gradient green dress with clovers coming off the sleeves. With her pink hair, she looks like she could be a goddess of spring. Her red eyes, however, are still terrifying. I pull out her green ribbon, approaching her calmly. A smile tweaks at the corners of her lips. She draws closer, too close, before taking it from me. Shall I assume you're taking my offer? She says. My eyes narrow, but I say, yes, I'm taking your offer. Good. It would be silly of you to throw it away. Her eyes soften, and she clutches her ribbon to her chest. You know, my father always believed green was a lucky color and that if you wore it, you'd be lucky too. I only kept the ribbon to remember him, but maybe he was right. So now you tell me? Seems like you like me more than I thought, Miss Val. Valerie flushes. I didn't tell you that so you could tease me. I just realized I was extremely rude to you before, and please refrain from nicknames. We're not in that kind of relationship. I desperately want to comment on the word relationship because at the very least she believes we are in one. Yes, a relationship can mean a million things, but I'm willing to take it. Of course, Princess Valerie. Your wish is my command, I say with a bow. Great, she says, looping an arm through mine as she yanks me upright. Now tell me everything you know about humans and the surface. Starting with yourself. While we roam the castle grounds, I begin my tale. The story of a farm boy and how he climbed a beanstalk.